Do you want to do a podcast? We make a darn good team. It always goes without a hitch. Let's head to Twitch and go start up the stream. Do you want to do a podcast? It's the Nerd Glasses Podcast. Let's start now. Hi everyone and welcome to the Nerd Glasses Podcast. Come?
All right, I'll do my own bits myself.
Oh wait, no silence.
We're doing it. Get off the road. You gotta ask yourself, punk. Do I feel lucky? Did I fire 10 shots? Am I squishy? Hey, Boater, what are we doing?
Hey, Dave.
Yes, Boater? Wee.
So, get on camera. We're live. We're live. Hey, Dave.
Yes, Boater.
So this old Irish guy retires and goes to a little village in the countryside. And goes into a bar and orders 3 beers.
So it's Fenian.
Yeah.
Okay.
goes into a bar, orders 3 beers, and the guy's like, "Oh, well, that's a little odd. Do you want them one at a time?" "No, just all at once." "Okay, sure." Has the 3 beers, has all of them. A little odd, but okay. After a few days, because this guy comes to the bar every day, because it's the one bar in town. It's an Irish town, so maybe that's a population of like 17. Says why the 3 beers, and the guy's like, "Oh, well, it's because I always drink with my brothers. One of them is away at sea doing a dangerous job that he'll be at for life, and the other one is over in New York doing stock trading." I heard him say something about GameStop. I don't know what he's on about, but it's tradition. We always drink together. Okay, fine. They all drink together. Another couple weeks go by. All of a sudden, he only orders 2 beers. Oh no, something happened. Everyone's very concerned. He starts getting like flowers at his house, and eventually, after a few more days, he's like, "What's going on? Is there a festival?" And it's, "No, we're wondering what happened. Tell us, was it the one at sea or the one in New York?" And, "Oh no, nothing happened to me, brothers. I just quit drinking." Hey everyone, welcome to the Jesus.
Yes! Welcome to the Nerd Glasses that will just never, ever start. Speaking of which, thank you so much for the subscription, Vladdy. Enjoy the Dave face and the Mike face emote. This has been an awesome week of conventions and things like that, and I'm greatly looking forward to getting to that news with you. Our friends over at our brethren in arms against Apple over at the Coalition for App Fairness have some news, and we'll also be getting into some Twitch bans that have happened recently. But for the next 7 days, I want to tell you about some games that are coming out. There are quite a few of them, but there's 2 in particular that caught my attention.
I need more. I'll be right back. You're doing great, Nate.
That will be
You're doing great, Nate.
Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection, which is going to be coming to the Nintendo Switch. I know what you're thinking. Another Ghosts and Goblins game? And my response to you is, shush! It's fun, and you don't like it just because it's hard. It's a platformer. It will be coming to the Switch on the 25th. So in 2 days, you too can be the magical Arthur and try to play through the entirety of the game without taking a single hit to get the actual ending of the game. It's literally like From Software wishes they could make a difficulty level that way. Don't take that as a challenge, From Software. Please, for the love of God.
Good job. You ruined it for everybody.
And on the 26th, the second installment in a franchise that, to be honest, hasn't gotten a lot of fanfare over in the continental U.S. However, it did sell incredibly well overseas, as all RPGs do from Square Enix. Bravely Default 2. I don't know if anyone in chat has played Bravely Default, the original. I know we have had a copy of it for the 3DS for longer than I'd care to admit, but yeah, like it just people are excited about it. It comes from the same studios that have made Bravely Default, and its direct sequel End Layer. It's also in development along with Octopath Traveler and other such games, so it has quite the pedigree and quite the... Well, let's just say this is not going to be a game that comes out day one and is not functional. It's gotten a lot of polish and a lot of fun. Speaking of fun, welcome back, Boater.
Hi.
Even the soda liked the joke. That was the...
Really, because I think the soda just upstaged me. Yeah, okay, so those games both sound really cool. They're not like your typical games that we find that we like get really excited about.
Well, they're not. Like, they're definitely for niche audiences.
Yep. But those audiences are going to be super happy to have them.
Yes, because you don't get... I mean, let's be honest. If you're a fan of Ghosts and Goblins, you already have all the other editions of it. But this one's going to be a lot of fun, and especially being able to play on your Switch. The Hauser could be a bit of both. Exactly.
So Dave, we've looked ahead at a bit at today's program, and it seems to be a program talking a lot about sequels. And so for that, for Twitch bans, I have Twitch bans the sequel.
Oh no!
Frankly, 3 Twitch bans the sequel. Going really quick. FaZe Adapt. Adapt is the director of FaZe Clan's COD sniping group. He was previously banned May 2020, quote, suggestive content or activities, and was banned earlier this month. No reason given. He was streaming a GTA roleplay. Maybe said something, did something. I don't know. I didn't see a reason for that one.
I do also know part of... What clan is it again?
FaZe.
So I know that a lot of the clans that were created in CSGO and other games were created because people were kicked out of other clans, and they create them to counteract each other. And so a lot of these people get banned for actions that the whole clan does.
Yeah.
But GTA roleplay can get very dangerous. Or I will say OC on our channel here does it, and he has a lot of fun with it, and it is really creative.
Yeah.
So
that was earlier this month. His most recent ban, as of yesterday, possibly because a Confederate flag was shown during a stream, which is covered under Twitch's hateful imagery, whatever. So just come on, guy. It's well publicized. Don't do it. But no stranger to bans. Also no stranger to bans. Advyth. Maybe that's Advyth. I'm not positive. ADVYTH. He's a Fortnite pro. He was previously suspended back in January for, quote, hateful slurs. Twitch, of course, didn't confirm. But while complaining on Twitter, he stated, quote, Twitch also does not ban people for saying the word, may I say that or no?
I just wouldn't. It's a derogatory term for people with learning disabilities.
And if they did, they never made a statement about it, even though streamers use the word on their platform sometimes as well. In other words, I said a word that I shouldn't say, even if they don't have a specific rule for it, but everyone else does it, not an excuse. While trying to get answers and in contact to remove the suspension, he got fed up and streamed under an alt account, immediately banned for suspension evasion.
Yep, because that's all like...
That's also against the TOS.
Yeah. If you don't know that, by the way, even if you have a big platform and you get banned, the whole idea is, hey, you are banned, but not necessarily perma-banned. Don't make an account over here for us to have you serve out the ban sentence.
Yeah, we talked about Dr. Disrespect potentially showing up on other streams, and that's, other ways about maybe like people might try to get around being banned. No, you're banned off the platform totally. And then, so I wrote these down, and I said, this person, director of sniping group, this one, Fortnite pro, this one, this one, I wrote.
Oh, no.
Do you remember a couple weeks ago we talked about Indie Fox?
Yes.
The one that speedrunned banning while writing sub-names on herself in lingerie.
Okay.
She came back, did a music stream, banned for the third time in a month. She posted screenshots of the bits that were cited by Twitch to her, including the bit of inappropriate attire, which states that, quote, violative conduct includes but is not limited to featuring someone in a Speedo or bikini while cooking. It actually says while cooking. That's okay. It's weirdly specific. Featuring someone that is intentionally exposing clear, visible bulges or outlines of their genitals. In her tweet, she said, I played guitar for 3 hours from bed and don't understand. At this point, I feel targeted. There is no denying it. All caps. First camel toe ban I've ever seen on Twitch. Iconic.
I mean, if you have a brand and you need to continue that brand, that is one way of spinning it.
She follows up and says, this makes me realize how sexualized the woman's body is, even when I'm not being sexual at all. It's like, there's a very clearly defined terms of service that you violated. If you were trying to make a statement, congratulations, you made it, but you violated the rules and you deserve the ban. The rules being, don't dress in bikini bottoms, and if you acknowledged camel toe was a thing, that is against the terms of service.
And as we said,
if you don't know what that is, don't Google it.
And as when we're talking about her previous ban, folks, you do you, but just know that in some cases there are going to be people that are going to abuse policies.
Yep.
Or if you are not abusing policies, like the many body painter streamers and things like that that don't, there is a fine line for some of these things, and there are going to be people out there that don't like your successes and are going to try to put roadblocks in your way.
Play it safe. Don't make it easy for trolls if that's what you're worried about. And also, come on, she knew what she was doing. Her whole thing seems to be to push the boundaries of what is acceptable in dress whatever. And when Twitch already has their eye on her, she kept it up.
Yeah.
So.
Unfortunate.
Anyway, that's what I've got for Twitch bans.
Interesting that
also, that's the third time in a month, and you know how long this ban is? A day?
Like,
what the hell? I thought it was supposed to be a hell of a lot longer after your third repeat offense. It said a day.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I am glad that they're placing different sized
She's
bans.
hot, so that the ban isn't as much as someone who's not. I mean, that's how it's perceived.
That is how that's how it's being perceived in this case. But in the same time, I am glad that someone who uses a racial slur and targets somebody who gets banned for a third time gets a longer ban than someone that dressed inappropriately on stream.
That's fair.
Just to cherry pick from things we have talked about in the last month.
Yeah. Wow.
But the Pog emote is a great success, and everyone's very excited for Snake Pog. And by the way, speaking of emotes, was very excited on the Sunday stream. I managed to get Mike to come in and play some Faz, and he did the face on the stream, and it was the best. I was so excited, and I snapped a picture of it. So I'll be distributing that vehemently everywhere because I was very excited when he did it.
Fellow Dave on OnlyFans will share Mike's face.
What's the thing I was doing with anyway? Boater.
Okay.
This has been a month of announcements and things like that, and I really wanted to quickly. We didn't talk about it last week, but a Nintendo Direct happened.
Yeah, and it happened, I think, on Wednesday, and a day ahead of time, Nintendo was like, yeah, we're going to do a Direct tomorrow.
So for 50 minutes, they went live, and they broke the internet for the day, and then fans of Nintendo then calmed down and went back to the other things that they were playing. And so I'm going to quickly run down the things that they announced.
Hang up already!
And in no certain order, Skyward Sword is going to be coming to the Switch along with a special edition set of Joy-Cons. Let's see those drift skyward. The newest tactical RPG from Square Enix got announced, and there is a demo of it for free on the Switch Network now.
Nice.
I have it downloaded. I'm really excited. Mario Golf tees off once again.
No, hold on. What was the previous one called? You said
the name of the game always escapes me because it's something very obscure. It's like Triangle. Oh, for God's sake!
Oh, they don't even put the name on the thing.
Nope. On their own presser, they Triangle Strategy, Project Triangle Strategy, which is the working title. But the demo can be played now. Pretty fun. I kind of got into it. Mario Golf tees off with Super Rush for the Nintendo Switch.
Nice.
I'll be getting it because there's a game mode where you can have 4 people on the green at the same time, all doing mini golf rules, where everyone is literally teeing off and then playing at the same time. Can you hit each other? I don't know, but Vladdy will certainly find out right as I finish this backswing. Monster Hunter Rise.
Vladdy sausage eject from the green.
Exactly. Monster Hunter Rise will be joining folks on the Nintendo Switch in the coming year. Another Monster Hunter in the Monster Hunter line. It looks like a good title. It looks like a lot of fun. If you haven't played a Monster Hunter game, Rise could be the one that I would get into. Some more folks got announced for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Wah!
And I will stop Gate for a moment to say, wah! Why isn't it Waluigi?
What the fuck?
What the hell? However, you will not hear me say the typical internet phrase of, oh boy, more sword characters, but it's more characters from Xenoblade Chronicles.
Nice. Oh boy, more sword characters.
So, again, the way I look at it is, oh boy, more fighting styles for my Mii player to have. But the biggest announcement was that Splatoon 3 will be coming in 2022.
Nice.
And it looks very interesting coming out of that. So thank you very much, Nintendo, for directly informing us on this one.
I'm not answering that. I just need to blow my nose.
Vladdy, what? Don't worry about it, Vladdy. Don't worry about it. Just you putt first, and I'll follow. Nintendo does these directs. They hadn't in quite a while, and I really like them. The only problem is they announced them a little less than 24 hours in advance, and they're usually not on Tuesdays.
Yeah, they just kind of like, they waited until they had enough stuff to talk about and then said, all right, we're going to do it tomorrow. As opposed to, like, sometimes BlizzCon, for instance, is like, you didn't have anything. You didn't have enough to justify all of this, but they did it. There was stuff at BlizzCon, and we'll get to it. But before then, Dave, a week or two ago, we mentioned how Stadia Games and Entertainment was shut down.
Not the whole Stadia, so our predictions are still live.
But Stadia Games and Entertainment is the development studio, is the internal development studio at Stadia. It's not that the Stadia shut down, it's that internal development shut down. Before that, they had ended up buying Typhon Studios, who were the developers of Journey to the Savage Planet. They bought those developers. It was one of the first things that they bought. And they ported Journey to the Savage Planet. It came out early February. I think the same day that SG&E shut down and all of them were fired. Which, by the way, you couldn't just let that studio back out into the wild. You couldn't set it free from the Pokeball back into the tall grass. No. They were fired. They were let go. And theoretically, with like a PC game at least, the developer can like, well, I can still work on this and try to provide support. Because, man, was that game buggy when it came out on Stadia. A user reached out to 505 Games, who published the game on other platforms, and 505 responded with, please note that the publisher for Journey to the Savage Planet on Stadia is, in fact, emphasis theirs, Stadia Games and Entertainment, Google LLC. And unfortunately, we have no way of assisting with this kind of issue from our end. Now, eventually, like this afternoon, Stadia did release a statement saying, we have issued a patch, here you go. But it's very clearly like the skeleton staff that they kept on hand was like, oh crap, we have to do this.
They went to the intern and they were like, it says here on your application that you know C++. Fix it.
It says during your interview you said that you enjoy problem solving in high pressure situations. Fix it.
If you don't fix this game by the end of the day, we're going to start tagging you on Twitter.
Yeah, so like that was fixed, but it just brings up that like because Stadia, everything is on Google servers in the cloud, there is absolutely no way to work with a user to do any sort of mod, any sort of user-based patch, anything like that.
I will only Bendy's advocate to that under the idea that I am extremely comfortable with the idea that everybody doesn't get access to that. That is it. That is literally the only reason I'm happy with it, because Google contains so much of your information and retains it and carries it over to things. For example, like my work Gmail and my personal Gmail, because I have them on my phone, Google has tied them together, and I have to make sure that I'm not replying to work emails with my private email. But so I'm very glad to hear that regular game studios aren't just being given, here's the keys to the cloud system.
Fair.
However, what the you have to be able to fix this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I mentioned, PC games, one of the developers of Roll Cage ended up being a huge part of the fan community and issuing patches so it would run on like Windows 7, Windows 10. And this is a game from like 1998. So, I mean, that's something that you can do when someone has it on their machine. Now, again, less with consoles anyway, but anyway, that's that. Stadia, you done effed up.
While you're prepping for the next story, I'm just gonna discreetly take this out and just put this right here for no reason in particular. No purpose. Just.
Is that going to be a riff on Stadia or a riff on the subject of one of the subjects of the next story?
Could be both.
Okay, so let's follow up with the whole Apple Epic thing, and this time Epic didn't do something relating to what we're looking at right here. Apple is trying to get documents that prove that they're not a monopoly, and that Epic's stance that they're a monopoly is bumpkus. That just it's not a thing. And so they've gone and gotten stuff from the Epic Game Store. They've gotten stuff from the Google Play Store. Basically, all this information that is going to be like, here's sales, here's everything like that I guess is going to be useful to them. Then they went to Valve with Steam on the PC. Apple says Apple and Valve have engaged in several meet and confers, but Valve has refused to produce information responsive to requests 2 and 32. This is in discovery documents trying to get stuff for court. Apple's request 2 is very narrow. It simply requests documents sufficient to show Valve's A, total yearly sales of apps and in-app products, B, annual advertising revenues from Steam, C, annual sales of external products attributable to Steam, D, annual revenues from Steam, and E, annual earnings, whether gross or net, from Steam. Apple has gone as far as requesting this information in any readily accessible format, but Valve refuses to produce it. Valve has admitted to Apple's counsel that the information requested exists in the normal course of business, but Valve simply refuses to produce it in any of the formats Apple suggested. Request 32, they asked for A, the name of each app on Steam, B, the date range when the app was available on Steam, and C, the price of the app in any in-app product available on Steam. So Valve had provided some of the info that they were looking for, in fact a lot of the info, but refused to do these. Apple says that Valve admits that the information requested exists in some undisclosed, readily accessible format, but generically claims it won't produce the information because it is confidential or too burdensome to gather in the manner Apple requested. Valve says Valve already produced documents regarding its revenue share, competition with Epic, Steam distribution contracts, and other documents. Apple has requested that Valve 1. Recreate 6 years' worth of PC game and item sales for hundreds of third-party video games, then 2. Produce a massive amount of confidential information about these games and Valve's revenues. Apple wrongly claims that these requests are narrow. They are not. Somehow, in a dispute over mobile apps, a maker of PC games that does not compete in the mobile market or sell apps is being portrayed as a key figure. It's not. Apple's demands for further production should be rejected.
Ooh, you're gonna have to get a subpoena for all that.
And that's the thing, is that they did issue they are trying to get a subpoena, or maybe they got the subpoena already, and Valve is fighting that right now.
I would. That's a hell of a lot of work for
that's
that
like
company.
And that's their business. That's like, here, give us all your business numbers. It's like, Dave, how annoying is it when a random customer comes in the store and says, "How's business?"
Great.
Yeah.
But for specifics, say, not given.
Yeah, exactly. You say, "Oh, it's going good." Like, "Oh, it's shitty weather out." "Oh, yeah, we're doing all right. Whatever." "Yeah, it's good." You don't say that we have made this many dollars today. We have sold this many games. We have taken this many games in trade. We have given this much in trade credit. We have given this much in cash. You don't do that. And again, Valve says we do not compete in the market under discussion. They did make a mobile game, but they don't have a mobile marketplace.
Yep.
It's not relevant at all.
Well, it's they're trying to turn it into an apple oranges argument, but the reality is that they do
Apple
not
and Valve.
What?
I don't know what oranges is.
So they do not want God damn it. They do not want any bit of a spotlight put on Steam at all. Now, I will say, as somebody that buys a lot of things from Steam and know some people that have developed games on Steam, they really don't have much to worry in the wise of, like, getting sued by people, because their platform is very open to people being able to be on it or not be on it.
Yeah.
But
and they're open about what the revenue shares are and everything like that. And like they don't have a monopoly. They were the de facto, they were the go-to, but then like GOG came up, Epic.
Yep.
Epic obviously came up on PC. There are other things out there. So if they want to say that anything is analogous to Valve, again, open your platform to other stores or shut up.
It's hysterical. But I really would love to hear who's the representative of Valve that really doesn't do much anymore.
Gabe Newell.
Gabe Newell. I would love it for Gabe Newell to have to sit in front of Congress, because that's really what would end up happening if this came to light, is bigger sized politicians would start going, now explain to me exactly where I could get one of these games. Well, you download it on your computer. Well, I don't have a computer, and I don't understand. So, explain to me. And poor Gabe Newell sitting there just sweating, being like, I just have your interns to do it.
Ask your granddaughter. She'll be able to help. I mean, it'd be at least more reassuring than watching Mark Zuckerberg sit in front of Congress, who just didn't have any human emotion going on at all.
I can't tell.
He looked like a failed android.
If Zuckerberg went with the model of, instead of getting media coaching, he literally just went straight to a CIA operative and was like, I need to sustain 3 hours worth of torture. Please provide me that training. And they literally were like, they like, do not do any singular expression for any amount of time. Like, I mean, make sure you come in looking particularly ashen. Like,
I mean, the man's probably a sociopath. I don't feel the need to go into this right now. People can ask me, twitch.tv/Boaterbug. Ask me on Brunch with Boater this weekend what the hell I mean when I say Mark Zuckerberg is probably a sociopath. But for now...
Or on the Citadel. Ask Papa Boater.
Actually, yeah, that's true. The Citadel, right after this, we're playing Assassin's Creed. So... Dave, we are now halfway through our show, and we have saved for the back half of the show. Were there any other topics you wanted to hit before we got to the headliner?
No, just very interested to see how this whole Apple trying to come back. Now Apple is really trying to seize the momentum and clap back at our little brother Epic. And more power to you, Epic, for your attempts and struggles. I hope that Valve continues to cough up absolutely nothing for their attempts.
Yes. The thing is that, like, both of the parties involved are bad guys. I'm not rooting for either one. I'm not rooting for Epic. I'm not rooting for Apple. I want Epic to get shit on for breaking terms of service. And I do want Apple to open up their platform to other stores. But that doesn't that doesn't change the fact that Epic was in the wrong in that moment that they are trying to go to court for. You can go ahead and try to find a thing, Dave, but you're not changing my position on that.
Oh, no, I'm not changing your position. I'm pretty sure I had somewhere in here over the... Oh, yeah, this one just bears repeating. Ha ha! Just because.
Just cause. Okay. So, yeah, obviously we'll keep you updated on Epic versus Apple and everything else attached to that. So make sure that you are following us right here. at Insane Games TV _ on Twitch. Nerd Glasses Podcast is on every night at 7 o'clock, and it feels like every week we have some sort of update on this to bring you.
Yeah, every Tuesday we get to bring you what the big businesses have done by throwing feces at each other and screaming.
Yeah, and watching the little guys get caught in the middle. So Dave, we mentioned Nintendo Direct, and that was something that was given almost no warning and was a big thing from a hardware and software developer. There was another big thing that had a little more lead up to it from a really big software developer / publisher, and that was BlizzConline this year. You watched a lot of BlizzCon stuff, yeah?
I watched the duration of from the opening ceremony, and then I watched every single Overwatch segment on both days. And I thankfully, a friend of ours and collaborator, Rafe Wolf, did give us a very basic overview of what happened for World of Warcraft.
Yeah, actually, let's start. I'll start with that, reading off what she said with World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Then we'll go to you for Overwatch, and I'll close it out talking about Diablo.
Would love that.
Yeah, so I mentioned to Rafe, it'd be great if you could join us on the show, but unfortunately she does have a
other prior commitments,
an engagement on Tuesday nights. So let's see here. Oh God, the Metallica thing. You gotta find it. All right.
I mean, if you're using the Discord, I remember exactly what was said verbatim.
I'm watching the WoW one with disappointment because it's all WoW Classic crap. Like they announced a lot of stuff for World of Warcraft Classic, which she's not interested in. If you're interested in it, great. If not, so she actually... That's all she posted in the Nerd Glasses topics. Was there another channel that she mentioned stuff in?
No, that was kind of it, and then that was the gist I also got from another World of Warcraft collaborator here at Insane Games.
So they had nothing new to announce for WoW going forward.
Yeah.
No new expansion pack or anything like that. It was just, here's more stuff we're doing with WoW Classic.
If you're a fan of what was called Vanilla WoW, you can move on to the next expansion pack, or you can decide to stay in Vanilla WoW. And all the compatibility and things like that we're doing. Boater, you know what just dawned on me, though?
What?
Did you look up anything for the Hearthstone stuff?
Ooh, no, I did not.
Yep. You know what? Because you know why what's happening with Hearthstone? They're adding seasons. And they're expanding into... I will say, if you haven't played Hearthstone, try it. They are moving into the next season for it. That was the big announcement at the top of... BlizzCon Online, and I was very excited for it. It's not my boat. I'm more of a fan of playing, a big fan of playing Varia, big fan of playing MTG.
Yep.
But Hearthstone can't go wrong with it. And they're starting a new one. They're adding more mechanics. And Boater, don't worry, because if you think, wow, Hearthstone's evolved so far in the couple of years that it's been out, they're adding Vanilla Hearthstone. So that was a lot of the Hearthstone content.
So, like, season play is never something that I find interesting. And so, like, if Vanilla Hearthstone is seasonless, that has some appeal.
Yes, it will.
Yeah, that has some appeal.
There's one. Good for you, Hearthstone.
That's one thing that, like, so Diablo 3 does seasons, and, like, I'm not interested in that at all. I may or may not have started plans to bring a playthrough of Diablo 3 to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/BoaterBug, like I've already done with 1 and 2.
Yeah.
But it's like, the end game is season-based, and that's not at all what I'm going to do. That's not what I'm interested in with a game. I just like the plot progression of one thing to the next and not end game seasons. Diablo 4 is going to have that. Like, that's why I never got into Destiny or Anthem, because they're that kind of live service thing with seasons. Anyway, it's not my thing, but hey, Vanilla Hearthstone, great. Overwatch.
So first of all, this bear's playing. While I pull it up, I want to set a mood for you all. I have been fighting in Overwatch every
when
Friday
you feel
on my own channel.
all alone,
And
the world has turned its back on you. Sorry, it sounded like Crash and Burn by Savage Garden for a little bit.
nope.
I know it's not.
So
Dave, quick, we're going to get DMCA'd.
with the announcement of Overwatch 2 2 years ago,
Yeah, and then a dearth of news since then.
I was very worried, but I was told at the end of the last Overwatch competitive season, Papa Jeff came to us, the Overwatch fans, and said, "Don't worry about it. I got this." And I said, "Papa Jeff, you have not yet done me wrong in our experience. And so I will continue to both address you as Papa Jeff in public, and I will continue to follow your word." And Boater, I was not disappointed.
Okay,
By the
good.
entirety of BlizzCon Online, they jam-packed the Overwatch segments with everything I could have wanted, except for a release date for Overwatch 2. But the things that they showed was that, hey, by the way, while the Overwatch League is going, while we're keeping up with the seasons and everything in Overwatch, or we're adding new skins, while we're having these new voice actors, or we're doing these things, here's what we're doing in Overwatch 2. They're redesigning almost all of the characters. They're going to be structuring the tanks to be more brawler. All of this, by the way, was given the caveat of cards subject to change.
Yeah, it's still under development, and yeah.
And was super excited. We got more of the 2019 character Sojourn announced. She is using kind of like an arc weapon, and I'm very excited about it. It's not like Winston's. It's more of like a combination of Winston Zarya guns. But they also went into the nuts and bolts of they're doing sound capture to make the weapons feel more immersive. They are fidgeting with the enemy types because instead of just being PvP, it is going to be PvE. And they went into what that's going to look like, what maps are going to be on there. They announced 2 of the new maps. They announced that New York was going to be getting an Overwatch 2 experience, and Rome was as well. And I'm super excited for these. Cannot wait for them. And then on top of all of this news from Overwatch 2, they did an event where they did the San Francisco Shock, the current champion team in the Overwatch League.
Nice.
And they bought a bunch of esports competitors to face them in different events. So they did a gentleman that had logged over 5,000 hours as Lucio, called Lucio Dad. And they had him face the coach of the San Francisco Shock team in a battle, 1v1 as Lucio.
Okay.
And they captured the flag. Hilarious, other fun events.
Nice.
They also then did special events with the voice actors of the Overwatch League, or in the Overwatch League, as well as the Overwatch characters.
Yep,
and of course, my boy Reinhardt, Darren DePaul, was there, and I was over the moon. You know when you're a fan of things and you get to meet some of the characters, the voice actors behind them, and they kind of skew your character because they are not the people or you would align yourself with. You know what I mean? Like, when voice actors don't necessarily match the characters that they do.
Yeah, vocal dissonance.
Such as Vic Mignogna or things like that, where it's like, oh boy, like, you're kind of an asshole, and I'm kind of sad that my character is voiced by...
Okay, yeah.
Can I just gush about the fact that my Reinhardt fandom was not only rationalized, but increased with the fact that I tweeted at Darren DePaul, and he responded to me.
Nice.
It wasn't a long response, but he responded to me, so my my Overwatch fandom is more than continued. I do so love my Reinhardt character, and I look greatly forward to seeing him in Overwatch 2. They also did some really cool community things where they showed custom works by the people who would normally be there at BlizzCon showing off their, hey, here's our Overwatch movie, hey, here's my conventions, things like that. And, of course, Matt Mercer came into the works, and he is
why not?
literally the face of everything nerdy these days. And they really let him experiment. They had him dress as McCree, and then they called him out for dressing as McCree. It was just, my fandom was extremely well served, and I was just ecstatic with every single segment. I felt as a member of a community. I was engaged, heard, and acted against. And I will say, considering that they gave an hour and a half to a segment that had 6 different voice actors, the voice acting character, and one of the producers of the games, and they had no script. They went extremely in depth with some personal news for some of the actors and things like that. And just fandom was rationalized, and I felt really heard and very supported.
Okay.
And that was the intention of that whole thing. So the Friday crew, Mia Kai, Steve, and everyone else who has now recently joined, Ariella Dragonsbane, Nightwing, and oh my god, Itachi Blaine. We are very excited to continue our crusades under the Overwatch banner. So Boater, Diablo had probably by far the scoop of the entire BlizzCon.
Yeah, so first off, we scooped BlizzCon, and by we, I mean we copied we brought to you the work that other journalist outlets did. We mentioned that Diablo 2 was getting remade, and sure enough, they showed a ton of really cool stuff for Diablo 2 Resurrected. Diablo 2 Resurrected is being developed by Vicarious Visions, recently bought by Blizzard, in a neat way that kind of mirrors how Condor, originally developing the original Diablo, was bought by Blizzard and became Blizzard North before that was developed, or before that was published.
Condor was Blizzard North?
Yeah.
Huh! Sorry,
it was Condor, and then it was bought as Blizzard North. Yeah. It's really cool. Like I do not have the time to go into detail about all the cool stuff that they did, but it's the way that it runs on top of the old engine. Like the old Diablo engine runs at 25 frames a second. It's all frame based. It's all frame timing, and people like splitting frames with their timing and doing stuff in ways that's like very. It would be like game breaking, but that's just how the game is made, and that's how things are done. And so here's stuff that is going to run at 4K, 60 frames a second, full 3D animation rather than sprites. And they're like, yeah, it's still running on top of the old game. All the calculations are done on the 25 frame a second hits, and our engine is just animating everything 3D on top of that. That was amazing. A ton of really cool stuff. I loved listening to just the way that what they're doing with the game. Diablo 2 Resurrected looks great. That wasn't the only thing talked about. There was a little bit of Diablo Immortal news. I think that they announced a class, the Crusader, for it. I'm not positive. I don't know. I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it. But hey, Diablo Immortal is still being worked on.
Hang on. I'll hold out my phone, won't you?
And there was also a huge announce for Diablo 4, a new class announced, the Rogue. And they showed a cinematic for the Rogue. The Rogue is a returning character from Diablo 1, but also because it can... Vladdy Boo Immortal. Words, things, stuff.
Diablo 4?
Yes, Diablo 4 class. Sorry, I got distracted by it's a returning class, but also they mentioned that all of the classes, like in Diablo 3, are going to have male and female options. So the Rogue won't necessarily be these Sisters of Sightless Eye Rogue. You can do a ton of different things and a ton of ways to customize it. The cinematic was really cool because she goes into a church behind a priest and puts a few ears on the pew. For those not familiar with the early days of Diablo 1 and 2, when you killed a player, you got their ear. Because, as stated in, I think, the strategy guide for Diablo 1, I'm not going to try to look up the exact thing, but it says something along the lines of, like, carrying a head around is such a downer at parties. So you get their ear. And you could sell the ears for, like, a gold or whatever. But, yeah, hey, this priest commissioned her to grab a couple bounties. She gives him the ears. There's some talk about sinning and whatever. He goes and opens up the altar, and there's a whole collection of ears and hooks, and he just... it has that tone that I love. It's got that more gothic feel. The Rogue announced, and it looks really cool.
I loved that announcement. I loved that video. It just as a stark contrast to 2 years ago's BlizzCon. No, it was last year's.
Yeah, last year.
Last year's BlizzCon, where the tone of it was very somber, very measured in every single word that was said up there, was absolutely scripted and pre-approved well ahead of time. And considering that this year there was not a single live audience in front of any of these panels, they let the developers, they let these people that normally don't speak in front of massive audiences except on the extra bonus DVD at the back of the official strategy guide. Good on you, Blizzard.
Yeah.
This is the stuff you should be doing.
Weird because like they still got like these big stages at times, and they were like playing to a non-existent audience, but other times it was just, you know, they're in front of a green screen and they're showing art behind it, which was cool. The reason, in order to combat griefing, the boys at Blizzard made it so that the most a player can get for killing another is half the slain character's gold and an ear. The reason is that of course, lugging a head around can be bothersome and a real downer at most social occasions, so Blizzard settled for an ear. So wrote John K. Waters in writing the strategy guide. There was a really funny moment. There was a Q&A that they did with the heads of development of these various Diablo properties.
Haha, I see what you did there.
One of them was Luis Barrega, who is a game director on Diablo 4, Wyatt Cheng, a lead game designer on Diablo Immortal, and Rob Gallerani, principal designer on Diablo 2 Resurrected. I'm looking at the YouTube video right here to get those titles. And at one point, right as they started off, Rob Ferguson, who was the director for the Diablo franchise, said, "Hey, how long have you guys been here?" Luis is like, I've been at Blizzard for 15 years. Wyatt's like, I've been at Blizzard for 18 years, starting at Blizzard North. And then he goes, Rob, how long have you... Wait, what day is it? Because Rob, of course, Vicarious Visions, I think they said it's been about 8 days I've been at Blizzard. But then that he's been at Vicarious Visions for like 20 or something like that. That was a fun moment. So it was really nice getting that much information. And again, really in-depth. I watched a lot of stuff on the D2 Resurrected where they went nice and in-depth on things. Yeah, it was good times.
I dropped a link to one of the things that was on the Overwatch side. It was called the Chuckle Challenge. It was the head of the Overwatch studio, Jeff Kaplan, facing the MVP champion in a Chuckle Challenge where they told each other really, really incredibly bad Overwatch puns.
Oh, God.
And it was so good. And the winner will actually surprise you.
I meanwhile shared that Diablo Q&A. While there is stuff that is more in-depth, that gives a really good overview on... Even like in Diablo Immortal, they talked about what they learned from the tech alpha demo, when we can expect a tech beta that people can join in early. So, yeah. That was probably like a 35-minute Q&A with those. So,
BlizzConline, huge success.
They did great. And then they ended it with a Metallica concert.
They actually started with the Metallica concert. Okay. And after day one, this was something that I'm glad both of us kind of caught on to. They broadcasted this on YouTube, on Twitch, and they did it on multiple YouTube channels, multiple Twitch channels, their own site, and their own mini sites as well. This was on so many platforms. Did you know, Boater, that within moments of Metallica starting to play, Twitch muted every single stream and put up what is it called? License-free music over it.
Yeah.
So instead of For Whom the Bell Tolls, which, by the way, one of my favorite Metallica songs to play, so I got really into it. People heard, and I believe Boater's queuing it up.
I'm trying to see if I can find it.
People heard this song instead if you were watching on Twitch.
It's going to take me a minute to find it.
Or other platforms. In any case, the second day, I noticed that they then added, when they had Lindsay Sterling play a video of one of hers, they added a asterisk and big white bold letters. The so-and-so retains the rights and restrictions to any and all broadcasts of this song.
Yeah.
Basically stating that, hey, we have the license for it at Blizzard to play it now, but Twitch, YouTube, you're on your own. And they kept the video of Metallica playing.
I can't really. It's amazing. What the fuck? Of all the things that it would auto replace audio for.
Metallica, when you participate in DMCA lawsuits, this is what happens.
Womp womp.
Thanks a lot, Lars.
Okay, so we've got a couple minutes left. Dave, I do want to end on something a little out of left field. First, again, BlizzCon was great. I love the stuff that they talked about. By all means, go to your favorite Blizzard properties YouTube channel and see what they put up. Do it. Dave, there was one announcement yesterday that got me very sad. Daft Punk broke up.
Yes.
After 28 years together, 4 studio albums, and a award-winning live album, Daft Punk published a video on their YouTube channel called Epilogue that was a clip from Daft Punk's Electroma, which is a live-action film that they did 2005, 2006.
It's not very good!
It's very avant-garde, French experimental. I haven't watched Electroma. I kind of want to.
I own it. Actually, I have it on Apple. oh wait, I have it on Apple, so I can't do anything with it. But
yeah. So I'll have to check that out. In the meantime, I can always watch Interstellar 5555 again. They showed a clip from there where they're walking together in the desert, and one kind of stops. Finally, one notices, by the way, we're now 2 minutes into the video. Turns around, comes back. This one takes off his jacket, turns around, and there's like a switch. Pulls the switch. He walks off, blows up. This one walks off into the sunrise. And it was titled Epilogue at the start. Right around there, the song Touch from Random Access Memories comes up. The one song from that album that I could not stand and might be able to like a bit more now. And they just Daft Punk 1993 to 2021. And yeah, it's people like, wait, is this like Epilogue? Are they doing like a final album and calling it quits? Are they splitting up now? Like, is this acrimonious? What's going on? And a publicist said, yes, Daft Punk is splitting up. No reason as to why. No, like, not like creative disagreements. No, they just got tired of the fame, which is probably where my money's at because they've been very fame averse. Maybe they're just like creatively want to do different things. Who knows? So I almost started off today with, Dave, what would be a good name for a Daft Punk reunion tour? One more time.
Human After All.
Yeah.
Random Access Memories. Literally any of their album titles would be a perfect name.
Yeah. Homework?
I mean, it would be for both of them.
Thank you, Daft Punk, for all that you've brought us as far as like personal joy for me, enjoying your music. Everyone that you've inspired, whether you've enjoyed their stuff in turn or not, they are not fans of EDM. Yeah, like farewell, Daft Punk, and I kind of wanted to end the program with that, like, you know. You did awesome stuff, and we're thankful for the 28 years that you spent together doing awesome stuff.
It was really kind of nice, though, to get a conclusion.
Yeah.
To know that it is done now. Like, we're not going to get in 6 years they did half an album. Here you go.
Yeah,
like,
the last thing that they did was collaborating with The Weeknd like a couple years ago. Like, that was the last thing they did that got published.
Yeah.
Like, they may have continued to doodle around musically for a while, but never anything intended for publication.
I have a feeling that the two of them are parting ways creatively so that they can pursue separate projects, because that's what they've been doing since
Yeah.
before Daft Punk was paying their bills and then buying them mansions and then buying them another mansions.
And robot suits, all the robot suits.
But thank you, Daft Punk, for the awesome music. I'll continue to listen to it and love it to this day. Really wish you wrote the soundtrack to your movie, but you know, everybody's got to have their thing.
Hey, Interstellar 5555 has their soundtrack. It's called Discovery, the entire album.
That was the problem, was I went in expecting another Interstellar, and then the movie had a soundtrack not by them. And I was like, oh, we're not,
Anyway, thank you, Daft Punk, and apologies to Death Stranding. We did not get the chance to get to you. We are actually already over time. So thank you all for watching the Nerd Glasses podcast. Please stay tuned for The Citadel, where I will be playing Assassin's Creed.
Woo!
On The Citadel, we look at games that are good, bad, kind of straddling the line in between, and we're excited for that. And then, of course, later tonight is Danny NASCAR. So I need to shut up so that we can get this over there and get The Citadel going. So, guys, thank you so much for watching the Nerd Glasses podcast. I've been Boater.
I've been Dave Mann.
And we'll see you next week. Bye, everybody. Oh, God, I got to go hit the button.